They're talking about radiation exposure from Wi-Fi or wireless internet. And they're concerned it's making their kids sick.
I just think that we don't know, so why risk it?
Today, schools across the country are rushing to install it. But these students say the convenience isn't worth the risk.
I had heart racing, headaches,
nauseous.
It's a really weird feeling.
Weak, and I'm really shaky.
And when they're not at school?
Does it happen on the weekends?
No.
There's no rhyme or reason to the symptoms. They range from headaches to nausea, heart palpitations, even rashes. So 16 by 9 wanted to find out exactly what, if any, threat exists in schools. So we went with this man, industry tester Kavinder Dhillon, to measure the radiation levels in a typical wireless classroom.
Is it fair to say that this would give us an average sample size of what we'd be seeing in a typical classroom?
Yes, we're going to be concentrating on this area. So this will basically give us what the proportional rate is.
To simulate an actual classroom, we set up each computer to stream video, constantly receiving information.
From the devices that are being set up right now, and we got our antennas hooked up, and we're getting the real-life signals with the correction factors from the antennas and the cable losses. Right now, we are basically 113.8 microwatts.
So, in effect, according to Health Canada, this classroom would be deemed safe.
According to the criteria, yes.
So next, we go out into the hallway to check the router, one of several in the school fixed to the ceiling. The levels here hit 2,600 microwatts, 20 times the reading inside the classroom.
People who are actually in industry who are testing this, they feel this is a high limit. This is very high.
Really?
Yeah.
You heard him. Our industry tester calls that level high. But it's still well within Canada's safety guide that sets the limit at 10 million microwatts per meter squared. Now, that might not mean much to most of us, but in 2008, Toronto's Board of Health said it's way too high and asked Canada's Minister of Health in this letter for much stricter regulations, 100 times more strict. Health Canada never changed a thing. Still, no matter what any guideline says, these parents say they've seen it for themselves and Wi-Fi is harming their kids.
So she had to hold on to friends in order not to collapse on the floor.
She had headaches, and we're not talking just regular headaches. They were extreme headaches where the secretary would call me. I'd have to come pick her up.
According to this doctor, there's good reason to believe these kids are telling the truth and not just making up some excuse to skip school.
There's no question in my mind it exists.
Dr. Jennifer Armstrong specializes in environmental medicine.
The big thing with kids is they're more vulnerable.
Why?
Children are more vulnerable. Their skulls are thinner. Their bodies are not as strong as ours in general. They're developing, their brains are developing. So you expose children to radiation and their little bodies don't handle it as well.
And cardiologist Dr. Stephen Sinatra agrees.
As a parent, if I had a young child, would I want to use my child as an experiment to see if it's going to take 30 years or 20 years or 10 years to become sick? No, not me.